remaining data types of Python like tuple, dictionary, and set. There are three more remaining data types. So tuple, just by the word, you can just remember like the main points about the tuple is it's non-editable, or we can say just a read-only data type. Right? And here the main thing is we can collect any type of data. It's not that one data type. You can collect combination of data types. Any type of data can be collected, and you can't do any editing over the data. Can't do, or we say can't edit the data. Or we can say simply can't manipulate the data. So that means manipulations can be done in the tuple by adding or removing or updating. It's changing some of the data. So all these three operations are not allowed in tuple. So once you create a tuple object, that means once you create a tuple, and the main thing, tuple symbol is round brackets. So whenever you create, good evening Balaji. So whenever you want to work with a tuple, we have round brackets actually. So just by writing round brackets and just collecting some data inside that, it's nothing but we have just created an object of a tuple type. And this object, you can save it in a reference of your own type. You can just take it in a reference. Now, whenever you want, you can access the data same way because these are all sequences. So tuple is also one of the data type of sequence type. So, tuple is a sequence object. So whichever is a sequence object, we can go index-wise. Index-wise retrieval is allowed. Same way, slice operator is allowed. So these are all allowed on the particular data structure. So same way we have repetition, concatenation, all those things are allowed on this particular sequence. And the main thing is index-wise. So when we talk about the sequences, we can just access the elements by the sequences, that means indexes. And not only the indexes, same way we can go for a slice of the data. So you can say starting from 0 till 3 minutes, only the first three elements will be displayed on this. So like this, we can go for last 3 just by saying -3 and keeping the last blank. So this will give you the last 3. So first 3 can be given like this, or even we can say A of just colon 3. So just missing the first one, it will automatically take 0 in the beginning index, and last index is 3 units. It will only print 0, 1, 2, 3 elements. The element set, these indexes are included, and index 3 is excluded. So this is all the same thing what we have done in the list. The only thing is we can't do editing. We can't do editing on the collection. So if I say A of 0 is 20, it will give it. So you can't replace an item which is already found in the tuple. So fine. So the first thing, how to create a tuple object is, you can just create a tuple by using which brackets now? Round brackets. And here, whenever I give a round bracket and give some elements, it's already created. So it's already created a tuple object, and you can't do any editing. So that means it's just a read-only collection. We can't do modification of this particular tuple. So there's one more way to create a tuple object is using tuple function. So you have a function called tuple, and you pass anything to this. Like if I'm passing a text to it. So what is it going to do is, it's going to convert or take each element of the string and convert into or add it into the tuple format. So it will directly create a tuple of letters like this. Okay. So whatever items you have, you just want to store it in a tuple format so that nobody can do modifications. So whatever string you have, you want to store it in a tuple format. So then we can just call a function called as tuple. So not only this, we can give any type of information in this. You just convert into a tuple format. And the next way is, even if you give multiple data. So if you just give multiple data with separation of comma. Right? Commas. that is automatically converted as a tuple object. So just if you say A is equal to 1, comma 2, comma 3, and if you try to print the data type of A, it will give us tuple type. So that means A is automatically converted as a tuple data. It will automatically wrap all the multiple values inside an object of which format? Tuple. See, whenever you put some data, you don't change the data. Generally, if I'm saying it's like constant, if I write just 5, it looks like a constant. Similarly, if I'm just writing like this, it also looks like a constant of 3 numbers. So that means whenever I talk about constant of 3 numbers together will be nothing but a tuple. As tuple is a constant because it does not get modified. So that's why we say whenever you give multiple values at a time separated by comma, it automatically gets created like a tuple object. So this is generally we can say. I'll show it practically one by one to you. Understand these topics. So I said the first way to create an object of tuple is take any variable and just take a round brackets and put whatever elements in this inside the round bracket. So if I just check the data type of this, it's a tuple data. And then can I edit the data? Or we have to check it. Now it's currently having 1 inside this. Now if I just say 10, it is a tuple does not support item assignment. So that means no modifications can be done on this. So same way, how we access index wise, we can go for a slice operation also. So I just want to see the first 2 elements. I can just say this. So directly 2 elements are shown. Last 2 elements, same way, we can see -2 from this folder. So last 2 items. And if you want, we can go for the type. We just say that. I just try to call some functions for modifications. As I said, assignment is not possible. Now, if we just look at this, we find only 2 things. But when we took list yesterday, we have seen so many things inside that, so many functions. So when I just pressed, we got a like set of functions, appending, clearing, a lot of things we were able to do on that. Insert also, copy, removing, reversing, everything. But now these kind of functions are not found in tuple. Only tuple has 2. The first function is a count. This, if I say count of a number, how many times it occurs? Occurrences of each element can be given by the count function. So when we say a tuple dot count function, give the data, it will automatically count the data. Now let me just take multiple. I'm looking at the list, new tuple book. So now just I want to take a count of 2. So how many times it is happening? We counted 1, 2, 3, and 4. So occurrences, how many times it is happening, we can do it. See, based on this, I'll give questions you'll understand. See, if I say generate a products list, see if you have same product entered twice or thrice. So I should not put it in the bin so many times. So that time you can just give a count of it. Just say how many times a person has visited, how many times this data is occurred in this list, how many times this number is repeating. So a lot of real-time scenarios, we need to know the count of some data. So that we can go for that. This is not modifying the data. Similarly, if I say there's another function which will tell the index of a data. So if I'm saying 2, it's found at which index? Index number 1. So it's not telling the index of all the 2's. Only the first occurrence of the element will be given its index. So when I said inside A2, where is the index in which this item is present? But the first occurrence, not all the occurrences. So this is only 2 operations here, and neither of these operations will do changes in the data. It is just to get the count the occurrence of a data, and this is just to find the position of a data, which is first position of the given to them. So this is just all about tuple. Tuple has not much things. Only thing is here we have to know tuple is created with round brackets. Once tuple is created, you can't modify, you can't do addition, removal, any kind of operations are not available. And whenever you give multiple items like this, what is it taken as? That values. So any multiple values separated by commas are automatically wrapped inside the round brackets. So they are packed. This is called as packing. So we can pack multiple items by default as tuple. You don't have to mention the round brackets. It's optional. If you want, you can give round brackets. But if you directly give it also, it is already called as a tuple. So this is also a tuple, and A is also with multiple values also is a tuple. See, type of A, the data type of A is tuple, and the type of A3 is also a tuple. And I said there's one more way, tuple function. By using tuple function also, we can create a tuple object. So if I say, give me a tuple object by the taking a string object as an argument. Now A4 and B8, it's already taking all the 4 letters of the string in a tuple form. So now A4 type is also a tuple object. So this is one. So various ways. See, main concept what you have to remember about tuple is you want to save something without any changes. So accidental changes should not be done on some data. Means store the data in a tuple format. And yeah, this is packing. That's what when we give multiple values, that is called as tuple packing. Automatically it will be wrapped in round brackets. And the most important thing is here when we want to create a tuple with one item. Now, is it possible to create a tuple with just single item like this? Just think. Is it a tuple? As it, when you give multiple values, it will wrap automatically as a tuple, packing done as a tuple item. Now, if I give only one number, is it a tuple or is it an integer object? So, single digit is never a tuple. If you are giving multiple items, at least 2, then definitely it's a tuple. But how do I create a tuple with a single item? Then if I take round brackets and try to store like this, then is it a tuple? Is it created like a tuple now? Even though I have used the tuple symbol, round brackets, and I kept only one data. So is it created like a tuple? As of now, it's taken like an integer.
Left connection
Yeah,
problem.
is it like tuple? Is it some integer type? As of
It's a,
now,
it
when
is
I'm taking integer type. So that means what happened to this round bracket? Is it not creating tuples? This round bracket means a tuple object already. So whenever we say round bracket, it creates a tuple as. But can I create a tuple like this? Check empty tuple. Is it a tuple? Yes, empty brackets is a tuple. But if I'm saying empty brackets with one data, is it creating a tuple? Is it creating a tuple by single element?
only the single element can't be double, or else at least we need two, one or two.
At least we need to. Yes, because what mathematically we use round brackets. In a lot of scenarios we use round brackets. It's not that only tuple. Mathematically also parentheses are used. So maybe computer or the Python interpreter may take it like an integer wrapped around a round bracket. So it will not consider like a tuple. So to make it like a tuple, we need to at least give a comma. So whenever I'm giving round bracket with one data, just keep a comma there. Then if you see, this will be taken like a tuple. So only in the case of single element inside round brackets, we must give a comma. If I don't give comma, it will take it as an integer only. Because it's just like a number wrapped in a round bracket. So we have to take care of single elements, right? Comma is mandatory when we are taking one single element in a tuple.
I have a one doubt.
Yeah,
Once you go top, man, top, you have given one a count of
yeah. Count.
A2, no? Then we
Yeah.
got four. How? Means I can't get in that.
How many times it's occurring? Two is occurring how many times in this full list? First occurrence, second occurrence, third occurrence,
Okay, okay.
fourth. That means how many times it is occurring?
Occur,
How many
means,
twos are present? Yeah, how
okay,
many
okay, okay.
times two is present in that?
Okay, thanks.
Right? That's it. Any other doubt till here? So tuple is a simple concept here. Only thing is when we have to create a tuple with single element, this is the syntax. You write that element and put a comma and put round brackets. But if you directly take one comma, will it accept? Will it accept? Either round brackets or without round brackets, if you kept the data and put comma, it's already a tuple. Because single data is not a tuple. Single data is already a int type. To make it as a tuple, we need to just make it as a comma separation, and if this bracket is your choice. Okay, is that clear? Any confusion till here?
No, no, ma'am.
So the next data type is Boolean data type. Boolean is nothing but true or a false. Whichever information leads to a true or a false answer, that's called as a Boolean type. So generally, Boolean types we get on comparisons. Whenever we compare something, is it equal to this data? Is it less than this data? Is it more than this data? So we have some symbols called as comparison operators. Less than, greater than, less than, equal to, greater than, equal to, equality, non-equality. So on comparison of two elements, always we'll get a data of Boolean type. It's true or false. So we can just check it. If I compare 2 less than 3, 2 less than 3 is a wrong, true answer. So output on the screen is true. If I say 2 greater than 3, we'll get a false answer. So any comparison is 2 double equal to 3. So single equal to is generally for assignment, double equal to is for comparison. Are these two quantities same or not? So now they are not same, so we get false. If I want to say not equal to, so not symbol is exclamation mark equal to 3. So 2 is not equal to 3. Yes, it's not equal to 3. So generally we'll get these comparisons, and also there is some comparison called as logical comparisons. So logically we have to check more than one expression. Now if you just check, there are two comparisons done. First comparison should be true, and also second comparison should be true. Then only the total output will be true for you. So if I'm saying 2 is greater than 3 or 2 is less than 3, I have to check the second comparison also. 3 not equal to 3. Is it correct? Only the first answer is true, second answer is false. So generally, and means you should satisfy this as well as this. Both should be true. So here, since the answer is false, the total answer is given as false. So comparisons will be done. We will be doing comparisons now using comparison operators or logical operators. There are something called as logical operators. So we'll be using both for comparing the data. And on comparison, we'll only get these two keywords as an output, either true or a false, nothing more than that. So these kind of data types are called as Boolean, and in real time, everywhere we'll do comparison. While withdrawing money, while checking your insurance, how much tax we have to pay, what is your electricity bill, how much you have to pay, how many units you consume. Based on that, see, everything is checked based on a criteria, your amount is calculated. So for the checking only, we'll have comparisons. Is debit amount available in the account or not? Is are you withdrawing more than 20,000 per day? So if you are doing so, some charges are applicable. So there are a lot of scenarios where we do comparison in detail. And based on the comparison result, we want to proceed further. So if you want to debit successfully an amount, the answer should be true. Means Your debit amount should be, if my debit amount is 200 and in your account balance is 500. So I just have to check debit is less than or equal to balance or not. So we have to check this answer first, and if it is true only, I should debit the amount. If I want to debit 600, and then if I check the balance, it should be less than or equal to the balance. System will give an answer as false. So based on that, we'll do a coding. That means the next step will proceed further based on the answer only. So system should check the answer. Is it true or is it not true? Means is it false? So based on that, we'll do some coding. So such data types are called as Boolean, and in Boolean only two keywords are available: capital T, true, and the next is false. And only on comparisons we get this item, and this data type keyword is bool. You check this answer, data type of your 2 less than 3 answer. That's a bool data type. So even if I directly type true, it's a boolean data. It's not small letters. We can't type in small letters there. It will give an error. There is no such keyword called true. Small true. It is capital. Next data type is set. Set as set. It's a set of data, means no duplicate. We said a set of books or something. So we don't want any duplicate. So then we can say a collection of unique values. That is called as a set. And the symbol used for that is curly braces. And here, now the main important point is set is not a sequence object. So till now, we should just remember that what is a sequence object? Only whenever I say sequence, you should get in your mind as a string type, a list type, or a tuple type. And what is the meaning of sequences? The ones which are taken with indexes. Indexes for slice operation. So all those things are called as sequence objects. But now the data type which we are seeing right now is set, and the dictionary is the next one. Both are non-sequence types. So non-sequence type means no indexes as such. We can't access the elements by 0th index, 1 index. We cannot access it. So these items will not have any indexes. So the reason behind that, no indexes, C. Basically, here also it's a collection of data only. So there's no difference here. Here the only thing is symbol we are using only. Here also we can use multiple data, wrap it up in the curly braces. But the main thing is here the set will not accept duplicate. So whenever I'm trying to add one more 2 again, second time when I'm adding 2, it will not accept. So that addition process is failed. So what was in the list concept? When we have taken a list and whenever we were adding some data into that. So whatever you added, it's blindly going to add it in the list. So that means now your list is consisting of how many items? 2 items here. So where are they added right now? In which indexes? This is present in 0th index. This is present in index 1. So that means duplications are allowed in list. So their insertion order is maintained. So it's not going to jumble the order of the insertion. So whatever you insert, as it is copied without thinking what data you have passed. But when we talk about a set object, this is a set. I have created a new set object with no elements right now. No elements in this set. Now, whenever I want to add, it's not append. Now, there's a small difference between the word append and add. Append means blindly adding at the end. Adds the elements at the end of the collection. End of the existing collection. List. Without thinking about duplications. Looking at the duplications also. So that means no need of thinking about is it a duplicate, is it there or not. That simply it has to add at the end. But when I talk about add, this is only talking about adds the elements only when it's not present in the list. Only when it does not exist in the existing set of elements. So this method is checking. So there is a checking going on here. It checks before adding. before adding. Otherwise, it's not added. Otherwise, it fails. That means what happens is it won't add it if it's already present. Okay. So just think that I have taken a set initially empty, and I'm just trying to use a method. It's not append method, it's now add method. So I'm adding one, I'm adding two. As long as we are adding a new item, it's going to take it without any problem here. But when I'm adding the same data, so it's not going to comment. Now, if you just try to print s, you'll have the set of data would be taken as 1, comma 2, comma 3. So that means as of now, when I'm adding, this should go to 0, 1, 2, 3. But is that insertion successful? This fails. So that means at the index number 3, there was no insertion done. So that's the reason whenever we are adding the elements, it is not maintaining the insertion order. It cannot maintain that order of insertion in the position box. That is one reason. Second thing is there will be some concept called comparison of the data using hash keys VC, hash codes VC. Means every data is having its own unique address whenever you load a data. As I said in Python, if I say file, it will be loaded somewhere. So that means somewhere it's present in the system. So it will be present at some particular address. So there is a calculation done behind the screen with the data plus this address that is called as hash code actually. That concept is called as hashing process. So there is a formula calculated based on which we get a number. So now whenever we add any data, it has its unique hash code. So whenever you are adding the same data again, it will check the hash code of the existing data and the newly added data. If both the data's hash code matches, it will never accept the data. So this is what it's doing background. Whenever you add, it will check its hash code in the background for checking. And if it's same, it will not add up the data. So this process is done inside the addition method. So because of that reason, no duplicates are added and no indexes are maintained. So we can't access the elements via indexes. So S of 0 will give an error. We can't access the index files. But we can do editing. Next point is editing is allowed. We can change the items in the particular collection. So any item if you want, you can change it. Let us see one set item. Now here also, let me check the data type of S first. But here I'm not getting a set item. If you can observe here, it's giving the data type as dictionary. Because the next data type also looks like curly braces. So whenever we just use curly braces, it takes it like a dictionary. So what we just generally do is take a set with some data, at least one data at least, like this, and close it. So see the data type of this, it's taken as set data type. Now in this, if you try to add more items, so the methods are already available. We can add, delete, or clear everything from this. So we can add the items. If I try to add the same item, it's not showing any error message, but when you see the items, it is only 2 items. So similarly, we have other methods also here, just like clearing, copying, difference. So we have other methods which we'll discuss. So there are some methods like removing methods. You can remove an item. So you can just say, okay, if it's present there only, we can delete it. But if you try to remove something which is not there, it will give an error. So that means while removing, you should be careful. If the data does not exist, it will raise an error of key error type. So we should just check the data must be present in that, then only we should delete it. Fine. Any doubts still here?
Ma'am, I remember in one of the demo classes, I think we have not yet teased that topic, but I want to ask
Yeah.
if at all we come across an error, the
Yeah.
process stops over that point.
Yes. Actually, stops at the same point. if it has an
Yeah.
error.
And I
Yeah.
think we have some function so that we could just let that be and continue the rest of the process.
Yes, yes. That concept is called as exception handling.
Okay, yeah, I
So
get.
we didn't cover that yet. So first
Okay.
we are just learning the code. Once the chapters are over, the next chapter would be exception handling.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So far, these errors you will not see in applications. Whenever you use any applications of real time, we never come across a red mark or some errors by which your program is stopping. You're trying to log in, you didn't enter username, password, and you hit on the submit button. Still, you'll not get an error. You'll get a message there saying username, passwords are not entered. That you have not entered. So that's a concept of exception handling. Even if something happens, system will manage it and still hold the application execution. So that user will re-enter the data and it will continue further in the next. So it should not break in the middle. So this concept is like because of interpreter. Because this software is an interpreter, what is the role of interpreter? Step-by-step execution, line by line execution. So first line is executed successfully, then it will jump to second line. If second line executes successfully, it jumps to third line. But if third line there is an error, it can't jump to fourth line. It will stop then and there itself. That's what if I'm just saying here A is equal to 5, B is equal to something. Uh, I'm just taking the replaces. And if I say add of 6, I'm writing 2, 3 lines here. And then I'm just suddenly checking the, I just want to remove the data from this 8, which is not there in this particular list. So what happens if I try to do like this? We should stop the execution. This execution will stop in the middle due to the exception concept. Okay, so the last line will never execute on. If I'm just seeing the first line and the last line, will not be able to see the last line. Okay. So you can say at this point there was an error. We got the execution started, so execution will happen line by line. Whatever we have typed, step by step it will execute. And wherever we face a problem, it will stop from that particular point. So in that scenario, I'm just showing 3 lines here. So you can see till where we don't have a problem, it will happen. But if suddenly there is a problem in certain location, let me say I did this by mistake, I did this division. This division is never going to end. So we'll have some problem at that line only. So the program will quit from that point. So it's not going to the next level. After this, whatever is written, it's not going to execute. Division success. So when I said division, there is a problem, it will not go to the next. So because it's an interpreter, there is a chance to execute from top to bottom till the time we don't face an issue. But if we face an issue, from here it will quit. If there was no issue in this, it will still continue to the next phase. Right? So this is called as exception handling. We'll do that in later classes. So set we were discussing about. In set we have the functions we have to check. If I'm creating a set of data and I'm just trying to add, I'm not using append function. So same data will not be added here. And if you try to remove something which is there, it's okay. But if I try to remove something which is not there, it will give an exception. This is called as an error or exception. And other than that, we can see some other functions like clear. This will again discuss in detail. Every chapter in detail functions are discussing all the data types. So now it's empty, right? So like this, we have few other functions in the set. We can just check. Discard, insertion, remove, form. These are the few functions. Other than set, we have one more data type that is called as dictionary. The last data type is called as dictionary here. So its symbol is also curly braces. The only thing is here we have a colon symbol. and the dictionary will collect a pair of data at every position. It will collect a pair of data. So the pair of data can be called as, this one will be called as a key and the second one will be called as a value of it. So key is mapped against one. It's just like words and names in the dictionary. So same way, here we don't have any indexes. So it's not a sequence item. It's a non-sequence object. So we can't access through no index-wise directory. And similarly, no slice, no repetition. These are all not allowed in dictionary. So whichever are sequence, we used to go for these concepts. And whichever are not sequence, we can't go for slice, indexes at all. So now dictionary, creation of dictionary can be done by direct curly braces. So this is an empty dictionary. Now in dictionary, we can add keys through a direct notation like this. Now, if I just want to store people's names and mobile number. So just like if I want to say Vinita and I just want against Vinita, I just want to store her mobile number. Something like this. So by this, what happens is in the dictionary, this word is taken as a key and against that a mobile number is saved. So like this, when I try to print the dictionary, you'll get an output on the screen like curly braces and your name will come as a key and a colon and the mobile number, whatever you have written, the same format. So like this, we can keep on adding the elements. Whenever we add the elements, just say the dictionary name, just mention the key in the square brackets, and then we can just say the data. So I can just mention the key, and beside that, we can assign a value. So this is how we do that. So that means there is no indexes here. It's not like zeroth index. So instead of index, these are taken like the index values. So whenever I try to search any data, what we can do is I want to just search from the dictionary all the information which belongs to Vinita. So for that, we can just say search in the dictionary the data or the mobile number of Vinita like this. So when I'm just mentioning this, I'll get the information which is mapped against this particular name, which is nothing but just a mobile number. So we will search based on keys in dictionary. So whichever data we have to know. So similarly, here not only one name and one mobile number, I can just store some employee's ID as a key and all other information of the employee, I can store it in a list format. So I can just say somebody's name and somebody's mobile number, somebody's email ID, somebody's designation, whatever we have, the date of joining, something, whatever we want, we can store it in this particular collection right now. So I'm just storing a set of information, all the details about this person whose unique ID is 123. And this whole thing will mention inside the curly braces directly like this. So I can create a dictionary object using curly braces, and inside curly braces, we have to give colon symbol to the left of which we'll mention a key, and to the right of which we can mention any object. Integer object, string object, a list object, or a tuple object. But the key, the main important point what we have to remember is key cannot be duplicated. Key cannot be duplicated and not on, and also it can't be editable. Edit. So that means once a key is added, we can't change it forever. It's like a fixed data type. Because key is the one information based on which we search the data. So how can we change the key itself? Because it's the main way to search for the data. You may do the editing in this data, but you can never do the editing in keys. So keys once are added, they are permanent. At the most, you can delete keys. So if I say I remove it, along with this, the whole data will be lost. So key and value are just like mapped together. So this key is immediately mapped with a value. You can delete a key, but you cannot edit a key. So once you delete a key, the whole information will be deleted from the dictionary. So that's what it's information here. And key can't be duplicated and also can't be edited. So when I said non-editable data, that means what are the data types which are non-editable data types? Till now, which data types we have learned as of now? What are the different data types we have learned till now?
Non-editable tuple.
Okay, tuple. What are the total data types we have
Set.
learned?
Set. List.
We have list, set,
Set. Uh,
string.
string.
That's it,
And
no?
and
Boolean. Boolean.
boolean. Boolean.
That's it, no?
And non-data types are
Yeah, that's only int, float.
float.
Right? In this, which information can be modified? Is it editable?
Yeah.
Is it editable? Means can we manipulate? Can we add and remove data from set?
Yes, ma'am. You
Yes.
can append. Yeah.
We can not
We
append.
we can
Here
add.
we can add.
We can add.
Yeah.
We can add.
append and remove of here. But here we can say add.
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 Yeah. Add.
Add or remove or pop. Okay. Int, is it editable? If I say
Yeah.
one int number, is it editable?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. We can edit.
It's not editable. 5 is always 5. Can you change 5 to 6? 5 is just a constant data, no?
Yeah.
5 cannot be edited. 5 is a constant. These are constant informations. List is not a constant. List of data is a variable data. It can vary. Set also can vary. Means initially I can have 1, 2, 3 here. But is it always 1, 2, 3? Is it always 1, 2, 3? No, it can be
No,
changed.
no.
Same
It
way,
can
if I
be
say 1, 2, 3 inside this curly, is it always 1, 2, 3? We can add new items in this. Here we can add new items in this. Okay, so it is editable. But what about integer? If I say a is 5, 5, it's always 5. It's never going to edit, no? 5 is not editable. Once an object is created, you can't edit that object. See, whatever data was loaded in the system, it's already loaded. That's what we have to understand. It's non-editable data. If you just wrote like this, it means somewhere a data is loaded and its functions are loaded here. And what is this here? A reference to it. That's it. But can you do changes in this data inside this object? What is there? Can you modify it to 6 by saying a is equal to 6? Does it happen?
no.
No. When we write the second sentence, what happens? A new object is created. This object is already 5. It's already created. We can't do editing here. So new object with 6 data and the respective functions are created. And
The
this is a
old
new
one?
object. Yes. And this will now point to this object. And this will get this garbage
Erased.
collected.
Garbage. Yeah.
Right? So that means constants can never be recreated. Constants can never be edited. If you try to change a reference, that data will be lost. It will point to the new data. So see base string also. If I say S1 is equal to tech, so tech is created somewhere in the middle, along with the functions. Now S1 is pointing to this. But if you say S1 dot reverse, is it going to change this data? Or is it creating another new object with the reverse of it and return it? Is it going to do the reversing in the current object, or is it going to take this object and create a new reverse object?
It's a new object.
Yes. So S1 is still pointing to which object? Tech only.
The old one. Take care.
Old one. So unless if you say something like this is a new reference to a new object. If you say S1 is equal to like this, then the S1 will point to which object?
The
Reversed
new
object.
one.
And what about this existing one? It will be
Garbage.
garbage. So, which are non-editable objects here? Integer, float,
Float.
string, and
Tuple. No.
tuple. That's it. Tuple is also non-editable. Once you create a tuple, you can't modify it. So all these are eligible to become as keys in the dictionary. Because what is the role of a dictionary key is a unique, non-modifiable item. So dictionaries keys can never be edited. So I can only use keys as int, float, or string or tuple item. So that means if you try to take a dictionary, inside the key eligible keys are integers. But values can be anything here. Values are editable. So you can take values of any data type. No restriction on the data types. Because they are editable values. But this is non-editable. So I can take keys as numbers, or I can take keys as some words like this, or I can take keys as tuples, right? But values can be anything here. You can take a collection of values, that's like set of values or list of values, anything you can take. Now, just like we want to say train details. So we can get a trains list, and here I can collect the train numbers and the information about that train details. So all the details we can store it in a set format or a list format. It's up to you how you want to store it. So you want to store the name of the train, Rajdhani Express, and its destination source, okay, Hyderabad to Delhi or whatever it may be. The distance, okay, 2000 kilometers, whatever it be. You can store all the information inside this particular curly braces and close it. So this is a key and this is a value. So whenever you want to edit in future, maybe you can edit this items. But can we edit this item? Is it editable? Can we change the key as 1234 to 1235?
No, ma'am.
You can't.
So we can just check here if I'm typing that, if I'm taking a dictionary, trains list, let us say 123, the train is Rajdhani Express. I'm just writing name here. Just one train. So I'm just printing, I got the train name and the number. So if I want to just print, I can just say train and the number of the train. So I just type this. By this, I'm getting all the details of the train. Then we have written only the name of the train. So I'm able to search or get the information of the train based on the unique train number. So train number is unique here. So now, if I try to add a new train number, this is the way we can take the dictionary name and I just say a new train number and here colon symbol and I can say AP something. But here we have to just see instead of colon symbol. While the assignment, how we are going to use same symbols we are using. Like D of 1234 is assigned with which name? We are adding AP Express as the value for it. Now if we just print a new key and a value pair is added. So this is a pair of data, a key and a value. Value can be anything here. If you want, if I know more details about a train, so if you just want to add a train number 125, against that you want to add a list of information. Okay. Sampark Kranti. Maybe it's detail starting from Delhi or maybe from Hyderabad and till destination is Delhi. So we can add a lot of details here, some 2,500 kilometers. I'm just writing approximately and I'm closing this. So in this dictionary, you can see these are the keys, this is the value. This is a key, this is a value. Third key has some other value. So values can be of any data type as you like. It's up to you right now. What information you want to collect? You want to collect a string information or a list information, right? So now,
Ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah. So in this dictionary data, we can get value from the keyword, but can we get the
Yes.
keyword from the value? Like, is that
Key.
possible? Like,
Yeah,
for
that.
example, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, understood that. Let us see. Yeah, just once. I'll just show you that reverse also. Let us try that. As you said, can I just logically, is it correct or wrong? What you asked? Logical.
Logically, in a dictionary, we can find all the related words, right? So,
Yeah.
just a genuine doubt.
Huh. No, no, just I'm also clarifying in a simplest way. So generally, do we search meanings and search for its words in a dictionary, or
Key.
we go by words and then we search for the meanings? What do we search?
Well,
Can
we have a word and we have a meaning,
that's it, no? That's the only purpose for a dictionary.
Yeah.
but
It's
also
a
we can find their what do we say, synonyms, right? Like we get all kind of
Synonyms,
no, that's an
no.
extra data.
So synonyms we can't search in dictionary, no? If I just get a word, okay, think, can I get this word? It's word. Can I get a synonym? Synonym means you'll get a meaning only, no?
Mm,
You search, think, and you'll get a meaning out of it only, no? We can't get a synonym out of it.
okay, so what I meant was like the literal dictionary I was talking about, and then I was trying to connect it to the dictionary of Python. Yeah,
Yeah, both are same only. That's what I'm trying to say. In original dictionary also, how are we going to search? If I
we'll
give a
have it.
word, yeah, if I give a word to you, you can search for it. Online dictionary you're saying, I think so. Okay. No, that's like synonym searching. Just think like a physical dictionary.
Okay.
Will you search for meanings and then track for the words? Can you search for meanings? Words are arranged in alphabetic order. Alphabetically, no? Not meanings. Are meanings arranged?
No, ma'am.
So then can I search based on meaning and a word? Can I search a word based on meaning?
no,
No,
Not at all
no.
possible, no. If I
no,
by
no.
mistake I get some meaning, I can search for its word. I can get its find its word. But I can't search a meaning and then I find its word. It's
No.
impossible, no? It's
Yeah.
impossible. So what we are searching is by the based on word only, I'll search against meaning because words are organized alphabetically, not
Okay.
meanings.
The
Right?
reason I asked this was usually
Huh.
when we have this IRCTC app and we are
Hmm.
tracking a train or something. So
Yeah.
if we give the train number, it gives us the train name and everything, right? And in the same
Yes.
sense, if we directly give a train number, also it like based on the starting
Yeah.
point, also it will give us the other data, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, understood that.
yeah.
So in that, whatever you are searching now, those are searching based on done on keys only. So you have an option. This coding also I'll teach you. IRCTC app coding also. So where we say search, maybe I'm entering a name of the tree. Then it is searching in a different way. It's searching in a different way. So based, see, what are we storing in a dictionary? That is important first. So maybe I can store name of the train and number of the train. Just think, can I do this?
Okay, you mean to say I can change the keyword to the train name and save it again?
I'm
So when I
doing
search,
this. No,
okay,
no. Check here. What did I write? All the other information of it.
multiple keywords.
Yes. I just took tuple. In that tuple, what is given? I saved. See, what is the most frequent searching criteria? Either you enter the train number or the train name. So how will I search based on key only? Every information of the train is found here. Based on what we are going to search, maybe user will enter a train number or a train name. So this is my key right now. This is the key inside the list of trains right now. So inside the key, how many informations we have stored right now? Two informations. So this is a tuple. This is a tuple of information, right? Now if you user types 1, 2, 3, 4, now it will search based on this partial information. Based on 1, 2, 3, 4, it will give you this data. There's a way. I'll teach you this way. Once we start coding for it, I'll teach you this part also. Right? Generally, what we do is only one data we store as a key. Generally, we store only one number as a key, basically. But as you said, train numbers we can search, train names also we can search, means definitely there would be an option to do that. Right? So if I'm taking a tuple in which I store the train number and the train name, user is entering a train name on the search box. Now it will search inside the tuple. Inside the train list, it will search only the which part of the tuple right now?
The train part, name part.
Name part. So this is name is just the present in which part of the list, this tuple. This is
Key
the
part.
first part of key part only. In key part, which location? There are two values, no? This
Yes.
is 1 and this is 2. This is present in which part? 0th part.
Oh yeah.
This is present in index 1. Indexes. Because it is a tuple is a sequence, index based item. So we are able to get the first one saying that tuple of 0, tuple of 1. Right? So whatever user entered, we are making it as what? Tuple of 1. And based on that, we'll match its item. I'll teach you this, how to do that, because once we finish loops chapter, you'll be able to do this part. So that means we can get, see, in the dictionary, we have list of keys and list of values. Dictionary has lot of keys and lot of values. But if you want, we can get the list of keys like this. We have a function, keys, by which what is retrieved from this? It returns all the list of keys found in the dictionary. You have to understand this word. What did I say? Returns all the list. Since it is returning all the keys in which format? List format. When we call which function? Keys. So out of the dictionary, only we are getting a list of keys right now. Similarly, when I say d dot values, there is a function called values. So it returns set of all the values found in the dictionary. Right? So we can get the elements found in the dictionary by these two methods right now. So when I said now if I print this list, we'll see all the keys, the tree numbers, whatever numbers we stored there. These will come in which format now? What is the data type? It's a list data type. Similarly, when I said the vats, these values are also written in the list format of AP something. Whatever we have saved in that, it will come as it is, whatever we have done, right? In a list format. Individual. You can search based on the key, but we can't search based on the value directly. It's not possible. Based on values, we can't search its keys, right? But there is a way, indirect way. Once I finish the loops chapter, you'll understand how to retrieve. If I know the train name, how to find its ID. See, generally, if you purchase a product, if you know the product ID directly, you'll get the product details. But am I interested to type the product name and find out the product ID anytime? Does anybody needs to know? If they know the product name, do they have to find out the product ID?
No.
It's not required.
Know the
Generally,
name.
yeah, because generally name is easy for everyone to remember. They'll go by names. Only for system, when they enter a name, computer should see. You typed okay. You typed something like LG, some mobile or something. To get all other its information, what it should do, just by typing LG mobile, I'll not get all the details of the LG mobile. So you should go for, like when you typed LG mobile A17 or something, whatever you typed, it should find out its unique ID, maybe in system, and then it should get all its details. This is one way. or else by typing the name itself, it should get all its details. There are two ways we can get that. So directly by typing the name, it can get you all the details of it. That is more preferable. Unnecessarily, again, finding its ID is not required. We don't have to find it. So we'll see. Based on the values, can I search key or not? Generally, it is not possible, but indirectly we can do that. Right? So I'll just show this one also. Here we have dictionary of lot of keys, lot of values. Now, if I have dictionary dot the functions, if you see the functions here, there is a function called keys. And when I'm just typing this, what did I get here exactly? Only the train numbers, only the keys, right? So that means if you want to have a look on the keys, we can get it. Because sometimes I don't know what is there in the complete, what products are there, we don't know. I just want to find out what are the products available. So their numbers I can identify. So by calling which function? Now based on these numbers, I can search for individual items. So now because I know there are three keys like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 5, I can search for any particular product's details directly like this. And the next thing is to get all the values, this is the function. It is only giving the list of values, not the keys. Correct? But I can't get a key based on the value. Because it's not possible. It's not possible like this. Because it is taken like as what? Key error. Whenever you search in a dictionary, we will search based on what? It should be a key only. Because generally, if I take a list, no, generally, what we do in a list, we take some items. How do we search for the items generally? How do we print the items there? Based on what?
Index.
Indexes. So here also, in dictionary, these are acting like indexes. So dictionary is only not, it's only going to collect customized user-defined indexes, I can say that. So in dictionary, we are able to create our own keys, own indexes and store it. Because every time 0, 1, 2, 3 is not the natural orders, not the natural things which we every day use. Because train numbers cannot be 0, 1, 2, 3. Train numbers can be so many different numbers. So we prefer to create our own numbers as indexes and save it inside a dictionary. So dictionary keys are acting like a customized indexes for us. So it's not that it has to be in order. We can just take suddenly 345 also. Just think like sections or something where we can do any data. So it's not mandatory that it should be in a sequence. Sometimes one train was there, they have closed the train, services are closed. So suddenly we can have a gap also. One number may be missing also. They would have removed a train called 124. Services are stopped. So by that, is it for sure that they are in an order? Indexes are in order right now? No. But when you talk about list, is it always in an order or not? Whatever we add inside the list, is it always in an order or not? If I try to remove something from the list, is it creating a gap there? I want to check the index of 4. So I want to check the index of 4 items. What is the index found at? It's found at 0. Now, if I try to remove this item 4, will that 0th position be blank?
There is no
Is that 0th index empty when I delete this item? Or
yes.
these will be? Okay. Then what is the index of 5? At which index this is found?
No, it is on 0. Yeah.
Then means they are moving forward, no? All the reshuffled. But when we talk about this, in this what happens? Is it in order? Are these keys in a sequential order or we can put any number there? You can delete this.
We can We can
Right.
put any number there.
Yes, we can do it, put any number. So it's a user-defined indexes. We can simply think like that. So we can just remove if there is a function called remove. Yes, I'll show it all these things. So now if I'm just saying 1, 2, 4. Now is that AP Express available? Is that 1, 2, 4 is available?
No.
It's deleted out. So anything, you're just trying to delete something from the middle. But what happened in the list, when we're trying to delete something from the beginning, it has to reshuffle. A lot of reorganizing happens there. So in list, whatever items we have, there is a drawback in the list is if you try to delete the first item, what should happen at that point? Every other element should move to the previous position. There's a lot of shuffling. So its performance is slow because it is trying to move every item to its previous index like this. It'll copy, then it'll copy 4 here, then it'll copy 5 here. So it's just like an array structure. It's a block in which all the things have to be reshuffled. So while reshuffling is happening, it takes a lot of time. A lot of time is consumed. But if you talk about a dictionary, what happens in dictionary? We stored some numbers here against this one. 1, 2, 4. And then I said B. Now, whichever data you delete, does it require any reshuffling? I'm deleting this item. So based on this, everything is emptied. And here, the dictionary does not store the data continuously. They are not stored in a continuous manner. So in dictionary, how it stores is the elements are scattered around. They are not in a continuous block of memory. So whenever you create a dictionary, one key and a value pair is at one location. This is one object. Another can be at some other location. It may not be continuously in one block. One can be at this particular point. So when you delete it, it's only links. These are joined, connected to one another. So if you just delete the second one, they will just reshuffle the links here. That's called as a linked list actually. There's some linkage done. But what happens in the list? List is a continuous block of memory where the data is loaded directly one after the other in continuous manner. So if you try to delete something, everything else will come to the previous index like this. And it's almost shuffled. This block is erased. So the memory is already shrinks or expands whenever you add or remove the data. Only problem is whenever you delete a data, every other item to the right side, which is present in the right side, has to move to the left side. Similarly, if you are just deleting something from the middle, also same concept happens. Everything has to shuffle to the previous index. So a lot of shuffling happens in the list type of data, which does not take place in which concept? In the dictionary. In dictionaries, no shuffling happens. It remains as it is. Only one item is deleted. That's it. Only it will be linked to the next time available. So chain is reshuffled, but the elements are not pushed in a previous direction. There is no proper order of data. The data is just scattered across. Only connectivity is done. Links are being given, right? Is that clear? Or any confusion?
It's clear, man. So far.
So based on that, we'll do some real time tomorrow. So because we have a chapter, important chapter to learn, that is loops. Actually. Once we do that, we can learn all the concepts once again, practically. How to get the data. So just this is the topic about dictionary, and we'll see tomorrow more topics on the dictionary, like how to iterate and all. So next chapter would be operators, after which we'll go for decision making and then loops. Once we finish these, we'll understand how to use this efficiently. Right? So any doubts from this topic?
No.
Yeah.
No,
Balaji.
man.
And
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sharing the videos in YouTube to directly go to the right?
Yeah?
Okay. I'm just uploading the videos in YouTube every day. You can check the videos there itself.
Okay, means yesterday,
Yeah. I've uploaded yesterday's also. That means not yesterday, Saturday.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. I will check.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.